Well, for one, she is one of my amazing clients. She has been kicking major freaking ass in her 12-week program, and I want her to come and share some really good nuggets and tips with y'all. So how about you introduce yourself on this one? Tell us a little bit about you, about your journey, and why you are such a badass.
My name's Sidne. I've been doing Jazzy's program for, I think I'm going into my 9th week out of 12 weeks of the program. Super excited. I've been trying to take it very seriously, and I think I'm seeing the results because of that.
You are really fucking busy. And the two things that I hear the most whenever I'm like talking to people about their goals is like, I don't have the time and I can't stay motivated.
Yeah.
So tell us how that relates to you. And did you ever have those like same type of excuses when you were pursuing your fitness goals in the beginning?
Yes, that was exactly what my excuses were forever, pretty much. Before I started this program, I was very inconsistent. I would start at the gym or with this nice new program, and then I'd fall off. And I always blamed it on work. I was like, oh, if I just didn't have, this like very demanding job, I'd be so fit right now. I'd be able to do all these things. And I guess what changed for me was that I realized like this is the situation I'm in. This is the job I have. And I love it, side note, but it is very, very demanding of my time. And I can't just let my life pass me by without getting other things in my life accomplished that I want to. And so something's got to change, and it's not going to be the job. It's not going to be the career. So I've got to find out a way to change otherwise. And it's funny, now this sounds hard to believe. I actually feel like I have more of a work-life balance than I did before. And I think the reason I started thinking about that, the reason is because before I feel like I was just living to work. I'd wake up, get ready for work, go to work, come home, and just like feel exhausted and drained from working, and then go to bed and start the day over the next day. And now I just feel like I have something else to live for, I guess. Not that I don't have many things to live for, but just in my day-to-day life, I feel like I have a personal life and a work life, and that's actually made me a lot happier as well.
I think that's crazy because that is really what people are afraid of, is that if they start investing some of their time into other things that's not business, that things are going to go like this, like just fall completely out of control.
Yeah.
Because when we're in such a busy like type of work environment, releasing some of the reins is like hard to do. So whether you're in business for yourself or just have a really demanding career, like a lot of women are afraid to do that. Like, what if I start neglecting my responsibilities because I'm over here trying to like work on my fitness? So I think that's actually really inspiring.
Yeah, you just gotta, it is definitely a lot of trial and error, and you definitely have to stay organized and find a method that works for you, but just gotta enjoy the journey. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, to give you guys an idea, why don't you tell them like more about your journey in the 8-9 weeks that you're in now? So where did you start and where are you now?
After my very first workout, I was super sore, like could barely walk, and that lasted for the first 2 to 3 weeks probably. It wasn't as sore as the first day, like that was pretty intense, but I'm a little weird in that I like being sore because it shows that my body is improving. So I was okay with that. And then I started doing more workouts that, I was going heavier in weight and whatnot and more intense workouts, but I wasn't as sore. And I texted Jazzy immediately, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And she was just like, your body's just adjusting. You're still having great workouts. It's just, you don't always have to be sore to be showing results. So I like accepted that and went on with it. For a few weeks. And then at about my 6-week mark is when I started noticing a ton of change. Like everything just started coming through. And like I said, right now I'm going into about my 9th week, so I'm still pretty new with all of this. As far as diet, if you would have asked me beforehand how my diet was, I would have said I ate pretty healthy. And now that I've been through this program with Jazzy, I have a completely different perspective on how I was eating before. And not only that, but I was under eating. Like, I skipped breakfast because I was too busy for it, obviously. Just wasn't eating a lot throughout the day. I'd scarf down my lunch at my desk, come home, maybe eat a decent sized meal for dinner, and that's it. No snacks during the day. So that was a huge adjustment for me as well. I actually was doing a meal delivery service for my lunch and dinners throughout the whole week. So I went from being completely spoiled, never having to cook because I skipped breakfast, so there was like no cooking involved, to cooking and prepping everything. And that was a huge shock at first, honestly. It's a lot of work cooking, and really doing dishes is the hard part. But I've just adjusted. I've had a lot of trial and error with that as well. But I was just committed. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And I want to make a real change in my life. So it was a lot of trial and error. I tried different methods, and I can't tell you like which one is the best because I could see how different ones would work for everyone. For me, what I've been finding the best personally is just meal prepping, like 2 meals, not like trying to do one meal that's different each day because I like diversity. But 2 meals, like a lunch for the whole week, a dinner for the whole week, and then sometimes middle of week, you know, because I get tired of the same thing. I will cook like an easy to make, like, but still delicious meal just to switch it up. And then of course, like changing snacks throughout each day has really helped too.
I love it. I love it. Dropping some knowledge. Yes. So one thing that for those of you that are watching live right now, if you need routine ideas, like implement these because Sidne is like legit so busy. So if these things work for her and you find that you are legit so busy too, so busy that you feel like you can't even start working on your health and fitness, if this works for her, then it's worth a try to see if it will work for you. And especially if you like variety too, because I know I do. Like I can also rotate around the same meals, but I need them to be quite different from day to day. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So what I do want to know, let me see. Okay, so just to give you guys a little bit of a backstory, when Sidne and I first met, she actually was referred over to me in this like vegan Facebook group, and like she's like, hey, anyone know of a trainer? And then a few people tagged me, and she's like, okay, well I guess I better like reach out to her. And then she was skeptical, like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to help me. Trust me, Jazzy, I'm really busy. I don't know if you understand. And she was a little bit skeptical. And then like, you know, I don't even know if I really need a coach 100%, just still trying to figure it out. So she has been in exactly your shoes. And I want to ask you, what part of the program has been like the biggest game changer for you?
Well, going back to like being skeptical, I really think that's, looking back now with the knowledge I have, all this wisdom, really it's just because you don't know what you don't know. You have no idea what you're getting into with such a drastic lifestyle change, and it's scary. And really what it came down to though, because I was like, oh, I've seen all these other people, they figure it out on their own, you know, they're just researching online, the internet, you know, has everything at our fingertips. The internet is inundated with a ton of info. How do you know what's right for you? Especially with vegan diet, there's even more limited info out there. I mean, of course, there's still a lot, but tailoring it to your needs is a whole nother story. So something that's been a game changer with this program for me, for sure, has been the personalization. Jazzy and I sat down in the very beginning and had like a very serious, like, I think it ended up being like a couple-hour conversation.
It was.
Of like, just like what my goals are, and like we just went deep. We got very specific, and in result my diet has been tailored to that, my workouts are tailored to that. Whereas if someone else were to do the workouts and diet plan that I have, I don't think it would work for them. So that's been very important to me. That's the game changer. That, and I was just telling Jazzy on our weekly call last night how there have been times throughout this fitness journey that old Sidne probably would have fallen off. So a game changer for me really has been being able to adapt to when life comes up. I had my wisdom teeth removed. I had a surgery and I was like, okay, this is fine. I'll be like, resting for like 2 days and then back at it. I was reading this like pamphlet afterwards and it's like, yeah, you can't work out for a week afterwards. And I'm like, no, I was like, I'm going to lose everything. Old Sidney probably would have been like, what's the point? Like, and just stopped, never gone back. But Jazzy kept encouraging me and I went back into it and I was shocked. Like probably after 3 workouts, I was right back where I started before that 1 week. So that, and I went on vacation. I went to Dallas. I ran in this hotel room, didn't know what the gym was going to be like. And I had super packed days and Jazzy tailored workouts that I could, work with, being on vacation, still having fun. And that's probably a part where old Sidney would have fallen off as well. I probably would not have gone to the gym at all during that vacation and came back and was like, oh, well, I fell off. Like, I don't want to restart and not have gone back. So that's been the real game changer for me.
I love that. Yeah, most people, the moment their routine is knocked off, they're like totally out again.
Yeah.
And starting from square one, and that shit's exhausting. It's
yeah,
so
it is.
Starting over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, no, you got this. You're gonna bounce right back, and then sure enough,
yeah,
you came back
definitely.
With vengeance too.
Yeah.
That's when like I feel like all the gains really happened like right after.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have a fun question for you. If you see me look this way, it's because I'm looking at notes. I have a fun question for you. So, what is your favorite body part now?
That's such a hard question. I actually asked David, my fiance, that question, and he was like, the body part. And I'm like, so like that was nice, but
like the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like great in itself too, of course. He would always say that, but there's not really a part that I don't like, which I don't think I could have said that at the beginning of this program. My favorite, the part where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that transition, would probably be like my arms and my back. They are so toned. But I mean everything, like my quads, my glutes, my stomach. I've lost 3.5 inches for this 8 weeks, which is huge to me. So
it's huge because it's not like you had, oh my gosh, so much weight to lose. Like you were already quite petite.
Yeah.
So that's major.
Yeah. Definitely considered myself like a skinny fat. So yeah, it's pretty big.
I think a lot of us have been there for sure. Like,
yes.
I'm not like overweight, but I'm definitely not where I'm trying to be.
Yes, exactly. And definitely very, very bloated too.
And bloating has subsided?
Yes, totally.
Love it. Love it. That's what happens when y'all address your digestion. You don't just like follow meal plans. You follow meal plans that address digestion. So bloating is like so big for so many people. That's what you hear, like, oh, I'm always so bloated. It's kind of nice to not have that feeling all the time.
Yeah, it is. Feels so much lighter.
I know. Well, that is all I have to ask you today. Any last like bits of advice or words that you want to give anyone before we check out?
One last thing I do want to touch base on is like the topic of work-life balance a little bit. I think like old Sidne, when I heard people who were just like, seemed like they were doing it all, I was like, no, you're not. Like, what are you sacrificing in your life? That person must not ever sleep or something like that. First of all, I want to say, if you know me, you know I love my sleep. And I make sure I get at least 8 hours in a night. I think really the only difference for me is just changing around my priorities. I don't come home um, at the end of the night and just veg out in front of the TV because I'm exhausted. I put on my workout clothes, go to the gym. So there are little things in my life that, you know, I found space for, and I feel like that applies to a lot of people. And you may feel like, oh, but I'm so tired. But once you go and do it, you will realize that you have way more energy than you think you do. So
I
that's
love it.
all.
And you create more energy too, because if you're not active, you're just always going to be freaking tired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was telling Jazzy last night, I actually have more, my energy is like more sustained throughout the day. Like at the end of the night, I've noticed like I feel like I'm not completely exhausted, whereas I've noticed other people around me might be. So it's not like I have all this bursting energy. It's just that it's sustained throughout the day better.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you so much for doing this live.
Yeah,
And
thanks
you
for
did it,
having me
like,
on your
took your,
page.
yeah, you took free time out of your busy life to do this for us. And I'm sure that it's not just helping me, but other women that feel like they cannot get that balance. It's probably pretty fucking inspiring for them too, to hear like, okay, wait, maybe I could still do this. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Keep killing it. Love
Thanks.
you. You're the best.
Thank you. And if anyone wants to message me with any questions or anything, feel free. I highly recommend Jazzy's program, by the way. She's
Thanks.
awesome. So, yeah, thanks,
I'll make sure to
everyone.
tag her, y'all, so that way you can find her.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Bye. Have a good
Bye.
night.
You too.
Thanks.